I thought it'd be a good time again to discuss patents and my feelings about them. If you don't already know, this is actually a series of almost 40 videos called Think Like an Inventor. I'll put a link down below to the playlist, but you really should start watching them all because this sets the foundation for how you're going to start thinking like an inventor. Once we move on to the product design phases and prototyping, you're going to want to have the foundation of these videos. So stick with me and make sure you watch them all. Now, I've expressed my opinion about patents briefly in a few videos, but I wanted to go more into detail here. I could tell you that my feelings are that patents usually aren't needed, and if you or your lawyer doesn't know how to write them properly, they're going to do little to protect you from copies. There are basically three types of patents. You have a utility patent, a design patent, and a provisional patent. Now, non-provisional patents would be the utility and design patent. A provisional patent is simply just a filing of what you intend to patent. It gives you a year to come up with your design or utility patent, basically. But it really does little to protect you. And here's the other problem. When you file your patent, you are basically telling everybody how your product works. And while that might seem like you're protecting your idea, you're really giving people out there clues as to what they should be inventing if your idea is worthwhile. If you like what you've been hearing so far, please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, give me a thumbs up, and leave your questions below. Now again, these are my opinions. You can consult an attorney, and I'm not advising you on what you should or shouldn't do. I'm just telling you how I feel about it and what I do. I have filed a few utility patents which actually protected the way my products worked. And there's a difference because if you can come up with a new technique or technology, utility patents are great for protecting those ideas. But be careful here. There are a lot of patents out there that supposedly protect ideas, but the ideas are never implemented by anybody, or they're so obscure that they're easy enough to get around. And that's why I warn you against patents. I just wanted to add this, that sometimes I forget that it must be really difficult for you guys to navigate this invention world. With all those help companies out there promising to promote your ideas to industry, help you with patents and all the other things, you must really get confused because they will quickly separate you from your money. Sometimes I listen to them and I actually believe what they're saying. But when you start digging deep and listen to their stories of success, you start hearing a few things that are pretty consistent. One is, yes, the people license their ideas, but you never hear how much they make. Or you'll hear of these huge successes, but if you listen to those people, you'll find out that they've already had a huge distribution line in place. They were already selling other products to places like Walmart, Home Depot, things like that. So all they had to do was come up with an idea, license it to one of their manufacturers, and they were the distributor. So that's not really licensing an idea either. I'm talking to you guys. I'll give you an example using one of my products. The idea of a directional speaker is not original and therefore cannot be patented. But the techniques you use to make the sound directional can technically be patented with a utility patent. Now, there are many companies out there who have filed patents regarding directional speakers. And a lot of you would get worried as soon as you heard that and you would stop trying to invent a directional speaker. But the truth is you have to know how to read patents to understand what is really being protected. With my sound laser directional speaker, there was one company that patented the type of modulation that was used to transmit the audio beam. Now, I'm not going to get into the particulars here because it's really a little bit too technical for people who don't understand electronics, but I will say this. Although they patented that one way of doing something, there were about 5 other ways that anybody could have designed the electronics that wouldn't infringe on those patents. So think about that. This company, it was actually very well funded, invested millions of dollars into technology that they patented and supposedly was better than other technologies. Meanwhile, I was able to come up with a design that didn't infringe on their patents and was just as good. So really you got to ask yourself, why did they patent that in the first place if it really had no value? Well, we talked about venture capital in the last video, and that's the real reason. Venture capital companies and investment banks like to see patents in a portfolio for a company. So a lot of times these patents are more fluff than they are substance. They go out there and they get these patents to add to their portfolio to give an inflated value of the technology. Now that's not the case all the time, but we could use Tesla Motors as an example too, because we know that they decided after patenting over, 1,000 patents, that one day they just turned around and gave them all away. Now it was a great PR stunt that was supposedly to help further the technology of electric vehicles, but in the end, the truth is, none of the patents had any value or they wouldn't have given them away in the first place. Just because you have an idea and just because you can get a patent for it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to get a patent. There are entire industries, both on television, radio, and the internet, set up just to file patents for you and your idea. They will all tell you that the idea is great. So I'm sorry if these people are ripping you off. I feel bad for you. But let's both be smart and figure out how we can get around that and make our products a success. They will all tell you that you should file a patent, and that's because they're making money off of you. That's the reality of this business. That's the reality of the invention game. So you need to think about this when it comes to patents. Personally, I'm more of a type of person that says, I have an idea, let me build a prototype, let me figure out how much it's going to cost to manufacture it, let me make those 100 pieces and let me get it to the market. Because here's the reality of success. Once you start selling your product, when it takes off, it will be copied. It usually for me takes anywhere from 18 to 36 months, but in that time frame, somebody else has already copied it almost identically. And there is no patent that will protect that from happening, because the real reason is I won't be able to pay the amount of money it'll cost in court battles and legal fees to keep that other person from selling the product that they made. And that's if I'm lucky enough that they copied it in the US. What if it was copied in Europe or China or somewhere else? There's no way I'm going to be able to fight that patent. If I know I'm not able to fight the patent, what's the point of doing it in the first place? Do I want to hang it on the wall and tell all my friends that I have a patent? Or am I trying to become an inventor and make money with products that I sell? That's a question that you're going to have to answer for yourself, and then you decide whether you want to patent your idea or just go ahead and start making it.